then what's wrong? I get the feeling that something's bothering you.
Well, Tom, that's something she said about Bennett, those severe headaches he has. And she mentioned these periods of forgetfulness he has sometimes afterward. I'm just wondering that while he was in Oakdale, if he had those headaches and those periods of forgetfulness, you know?
What are you getting at, Grant?
Well, Sergeant Jacoby has no suspect or no clue as to who tampered with the brakes in Lisa's car that almost killed me. Now, Bennett denied it, of course, and he doesn't really have a strong alibi to back up the story that he was writing in his room on his novel. Maybe he did it during one of those periods of forgetfulness. I mean, he was away from the inn. He was around people that he didn't know or didn't trust.
Well, that's true, but...
And you remember how jealous he was of me, you know?
Yeah. But I don't want to believe that about him. I mean, my mother's going to marry him next week. She's going to be living with him for the rest of her life up in that God-forsaken inn.
Mrs. Pierce, I can't tell you how grateful I am that you got here so quickly.
I left Norwich right after your call yesterday, Dr. Karanowski. Is Martin really better?
Well, I don't want to get your hopes up, but what's happened here could easily mean a breakthrough for your brother.
You said that he was trying to say some new words.
Yes, it's difficult for him still, and they're not easily understood.
What are they?
Well, my staff and I are not entirely certain. They don't seem to make much sense. It's the reason I needed you here. I was hoping that there might be something significant that you might understand. He seems to be saying Bennett, and the other word appears to be seller. Did your employer ever try and sell your brother something?
No. He hated Martin. They never even spoke.
Of course, it could be seller with a C, but that wouldn't mean anything, would it?
Ruth. Martin?
Are you remembering something? Martin, what is it? Martin.
Shovel.
Does that mean anything to you?
Bennett. Cellar.
Oh, hi. I didn't realize you were here.
Hi, Tom. Hi. Melinda has an appointment with Grant. Mary said that he's in Chris's office if you're looking for him.
Oh.
Have you spoken to Lisa lately?
Oh, yeah, just this morning. She called Grant to talk about the sale of the house, and I had a chance to say hello.
How is she?
Oh, she and Bennett are really living it up in New York. You know, theaters, nightclubs. But she'll be back in Norwich soon.
I guess selling the house means you'll be getting your own place soon.
Yeah.
If you're looking for an apartment, I know of a terrific place.
Oh, thanks, Barbara, but I've already found a place. It's a floor through at one of the brownstones over on Clinton Street. So people who have it are in Europe for a while, so...
That works out well for you.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, it's a nice area, too. I mean, the park's right across the street.
Yeah, well... maybe you could come up and take a look at it sometime.
Sure, I'd love to. Give me a call.
Yeah, I will. Well, I'd better,
Oh, Melinda, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Hello, Barbara.
Hi,
Grant, I just wanted to tell you I'm going out for lunch, but I'll be back in time for our meeting with Chris this afternoon.
All right, fine. See you then.
Barbara, I'll be talking with you.
When you have time.
Well, with Chris going to San Francisco, it's a little hectic around here. There's a lot to take care of, and I'm sorry.
I'm just very grateful you could see me on such a short notice.
Well, I understand that you decided to file for divorce from Bo.
Yes. I hope you can handle it for me, or at least recommend a lawyer who can. Kim suggested I call you.
Yes, she called me, yes. Before I do, though, I feel there's one very important question I have to ask you.
Well, I'm sure it's what I want. I mean, what's right.
I'd like to feel that you have explored every opportunity to make your marriage work before you came to this decision.
Yes, I have. Bo has been gone for about 6 months now. I just kept hoping he would come back and maybe things would change. But every time I've heard from him, he's insisted that that could never happen.
I see.
Marriage is it's a partnership. And if Bo doesn't want to have any part of it, well, it seems kind of foolish for me to waste the rest of my life waiting and hoping for something that'll never be.
Well, I agree with you. It looks like you've thought things through. So I'll just take down some information here. When were you married?
Last April.
Hi, Marcia, come in.
This is the name of that restaurant in San Francisco, the one I couldn't think of the other day.
Oh, yes. Well, Chris and I will be sure to try it.
Good.
You know Ellen.
Oh, yes. Of course.
Let me give you a cup of coffee.
Oh, please.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Good to see you again, Marcia.
Yes, nice to see you too. You know, I have to thank you again for helping Brian make a new friend, Andy.
Oh,
Yeah. In fact, we have a big day planned tomorrow with Andy's father. It's John's day off, and he's going to drive the boys out to a farm, and I'm going to go along too.
oh, I'm so glad that worked out. I know how eager you've been for Brian to make friends, more friends his own age.
You know, Andy is here right now. He's upstairs taking a nap.
Oh, well, do you think I could bring Brian over? I have to pick him up from nursery school in about a half an hour.
Well, I don't know how late we're going
Oh,
to be
yes,
staying.
please do. It'll give Ellen and me a chance to visit longer if Andy has someone to play with.
Well, good, good. Give me a nice opportunity to get to know you better too, Ellen. I'm sure you know that Doug is very friendly with David, and your daughter Annie too. He's always talking about them, especially Annie.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, yeah. He thinks she's going to be a very fine doctor one day. And she's such an attractive young woman. If I were the jealous type, I might have a qualm or two about Doug's being so impressed with her.
Oh, you headed for lunch, honey?
I'm just going to run down to the cafeteria and grab a sandwich and then go back to the lab.
Okay. Connie, these reports have to go out to the department heads.
Okay, Dr. Stewart. I'll take care of it right away.
Well, there's no rush, just so they get on their desk by this afternoon.
Hi, Annie.
Hello, Doug.
Oh, excuse me. I have to see your father about something.
You're doing very well. If I didn't know better, I would never guess that it bothered you to run into him.
I'm not going to let it bother me, although it still hurts a little. I'll never understand why he changed. I'll see you at home.
Barbara, I'd just like to thank you for coming with me to Grant's office.
I thought you got through it very well. Now it's in his hands.
Barbara, I was wondering about something. Did you ever say anything to Dr. Campbell about Marcia barging into my apartment and accusing me of all those things?
No, of course not. Why?
Well, he apologized to me about it a few days ago, and he said he had just found out about it.
Well, maybe Marcia told him herself.
Maybe. Well, I'm going to go to the bookstore now. Thanks again.
I'll see you later.
Bye.
Oh, Barbara. Can I talk with you for a minute?
Sure.
Listen, you haven't mentioned anything to Annie, have you? About why I'm staying with Marcia?
No, I promised you that I wouldn't, but if it's becoming a promise, it's increasingly difficult to keep.
I'm sorry, but you insisted on me telling you.
I know that. But it just doesn't make any sense. When two people care about each other, they shouldn't be kept apart by a vicious threat, especially when that threat is based on a lie.
I know. But I can't push Marcia too much right now, because then she would be more than happy to make the accusations about Annie and me public. And I think you know the Stewart family well enough to know how hurt they'd be if Annie was dragged into something that ugly.
Yeah, but it's still rotten.
I agree. But I'm trapped for a while. Till I find out if Marcia's gonna go through with this. That's why I need you to keep your promise.
Yeah, I've never really understood jealous wives. You know, maybe I'm lucky because I trust Doug so completely. Good marriage is based on trust. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I never questioned Doug about his late hours at the hospital. Or his terribly close friendship with an attractive girl like your daughter.
Martin, I've been here most of the day now, and I can't stay much longer. That's why I have to know what you're thinking of when you say those things about Bennett and the cellar. Martin, what is it that bothers you about Bennett? And the shovel. Why do you keep saying it? How much do you remember about that awful time and about Ruth?
Ruth.
Martin, I tried to warn you about Ruth. I warned you what would happen if Bennett found out, but you wouldn't listen. You ignored my warnings. Just as Mrs. Coleman ignores them. She doesn't believe me either. And the same terrible things will happen again. I know they will. I can feel it in my bones. Oh, she is so stubborn. I even tried to frighten her away to prevent it. Now I believe that it's inevitable. Because it's gone too far. And Bennett...
Ruth. Ruth. Ruth.
Well, I think that about wraps things up. If any problem arises, you can reach me in San Francisco.
Absolutely not. We're not going to interrupt your trip with a lot of business details. And besides, you'll have enough on your mind with the convention.
Donald's right, Chris. You're not to worry about a thing. Enjoy yourself at the convention. Have a wonderful time in my old hometown.
Well, I thank you, gentlemen. But there is one thing I do want you to phone me about. I want to hear the minute you know anything about Jay Stallings.
Yeah, well, I'm relieved that he at least got in touch with his foreman.
Well, I just hope that the work out there at the shopping center can continue without too much interruption.
It still strikes me as odd that Jay would take off for New York without a word to anyone. He hasn't even contacted Ralph Mitchell.
Excuse me. I just wanted to let you know that I did call Carol again and left another message, but so far Jay hasn't called back.
No, not now. It's too late now.
Mary, how much did you tell Carol?
Nothing. I didn't want to worry her with details.
Look, all I want is a meeting between Jay and Ralph and Santini so Santini can explain why he's billing Jay over the standard prices he charges other builders.
Well, look, I don't have to warn you to be careful when you do have that meeting, because we don't want it to sound as though we're accusing anyone yet.
Well, I understand that, Dad, and I'll watch it.
Well, I guess I can go clear off the top of my desk. Be on my way home.
Chris, I want to get those briefs.
Okay, Grant.
Don, I'll see you and Mary later at the house.
Yeah, right.
Donald?
Hmm?
I saw the look on your face when Grant talked about San Francisco. You were thinking of Joyce, weren't you?
Yeah, she used to talk often about her years there. She really loved that city. Joyce has been in my thoughts a lot lately.
Oh.
Look, only because, as I told you, I've talked to a couple of judges about the possibility of having her declared legally dead before the end of the 7-year waiting period, or perhaps getting a divorce on the grounds of desertion.
Well, I know that you do think about her. I can sense it. I can see it in your eyes.
Honey, she's a part of my life I'm trying very hard to forget. I want a new life, Mary. With you and Teddy.
So do we.
But as long as Joyce keeps preventing me from being free for that life, her memory's going to be very vivid.
Not for long. I am going to make you forget all about that.
Well, you've already helped me. A lot more than I can ever tell you.
Now, can I persuade anyone to have another piece of lemon meringue pie?
Oh, no, thank you, Nancy. It's wonderful, though.
None for me, thanks, Mom.
The pie's terrific, but I'm stuffed.
Chris?
Well, I'll have another small piece, but just before bedtime.
Tom?
Well...
I didn't think you'd let me down.
Growing boy.
After all, I'm not going to have any of Grandma's good desserts for a while.
When we get back from San Francisco, by the time we get off the plane, I'm going to have to start baking. I have to do all my Christmas cookies and all my fruit cakes. And then, of course, I want to be as helpful to Dana with her plans for her wedding as I possibly can do. That is, if she'll need me.
I'm sure she's counting on it, Mom.
Well, you know, Nancy, I'm planning to give her a shower after the holidays. I think it's better to wait, don't you?
Oh, yes. People are so busy with Christmas during the holidays that they just don't have time to think of anything else.
Valerie said she was going to help. And, oh, she offered to have it at the farm.
Oh, that's nice. What kind of shower are you going to give her?
Oh, I don't know. I thought something practical, maybe kitchen things.
That's always fun. Or linens?
Yeah, linens is good. Maybe I should ask Dana to see what she needs. After all, I mean, it's not a surprise.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this whole thing so much. There's so much to be planned for when you're doing a wedding.
Now, we men have it lucky. All we have to do is walk down the aisle and say, I do.
I don't call that lucky. Planning is half the fun.
I guess Lisa's really busy planning her wedding, huh?
Oh, I'm sure she is. She says she's going to keep it to a rather small group. A few friends of Bennett's from Norwich and her close friends from Oakdale. Bob, I've been trying to think of a subtle way of saying this all evening, but I can't.
Say what?
When I talked to Lisa today, she asked me to do my very best to persuade you to fly up to Norwich to the wedding.
Persuade? That's strange. She asked me to twist his arm.
Now, that sounds more like Lisa.
I've been doing my best, but I haven't been getting very far.
Couldn't you change your mind?
Mom, I really don't think that would work out.
Well, you know your father and I can't go, and you also know how much it would mean to Lisa to have you there, and it would be a nice change for Dana when she gets back.
Well, that's one of the problems. You'll barely be back by then.
Well, she should be back in a day or two.
I know, Dad, but there's this choreographer that wants to see her, and she may very well be involved with that ballet.
Couldn't you at least suggest it?
I will, and you can tell Lisa that you did your best.
I think it'd be great if you both could come. And then you could also see for yourself what I mean about that inn being so creepy.
You know, Tom, you have the greatest imagination. I think that creepy feeling you have about the inn is going to change completely when Kim and Lisa and Lisa's friends are all there together.
Maybe. I wouldn't count on it, though. There's an atmosphere that's so strange about that place, and one Hester Pierce can offset a whole group of guests.
You certainly don't like that woman, do you?
No. And I don't trust her either, not for a minute.
Well, I think if your mother feels the same way, she'll find a kind way to dismiss her after the marriage.
Yes, but Bennett would have to go along with it, and he seems almost afraid of her for some reason.
Oh, I do so want things to go well for Lisa, and I want her to be happy.
So do I. I hope she will be.
I know everything must seem very strange to you, Sergeant Jacoby, because you haven't been involved since the beginning.
Detective Lewis gave me the whole file, and I've looked over it carefully, Mr. Coleman. Everything in there is very strange, so nothing is going to surprise me.
Well, I just didn't want you to think I've gone off the deep end.
All I know is that you had these suspicions about this Hadley character. Then Lewis told me that when you got back from Moorcliff Sanitarium, that you felt differently about it.
That's right, I did. Yeah.
And then he told me that you felt that you finally had the whole story on Martin Blake and Ruth Hadley, and that you were ready to throw out this theory of yours that Hadley had killed both of them after you find out they were planning to run away.
That's right. That's right. Well, there was Martin, and you know about him. And Ruth was just as promiscuous as Martin, or Bennett said she was. And when she ran off and left Martin, then that's what put him in the sanitarium.
So what's the problem now?
The problem is that every time I begin to feel confident, things begin to disturb me again. I mean, like the severe headaches I told you about, or those periods of forgetfulness. The diary, the page from the diary that Kim Stewart found. Why was Ruth locked in a room at the inn? Or who was she so terrified of? Or what? I mean, there are so many unanswered questions.
All right, Mr. Coleman. I'll investigate this for you, but it's not going to be easy. There are a lot of dead ends out there. Ruth Hadley is the only person that can answer those questions. And she's disappeared without a trace.
Yes, she could give us the answer to so many things. Like especially, would Lisa be happy marrying Bennett Hadley? Or is she just going to be walking into a living nightmare?
There is no legal way I can prevent you from moving your brother to another private mental hospital. But I still insist that you are making a terrible mistake.
I'm sorry, Dr. Karanowski, but I put Martin in here. I pay the bills, and I make the decisions. While I appreciate the care you've given Martin...
It's wrong to move Martin in the middle of his treatments. Why, these new words could mean a gradual breakthrough.
I don't have time to argue. I'm taking my brother with me tonight.
Mrs. Pierce, please reconsider this decision.
No. My mind is made up.
All right. But I would like the name of the institution where he will be.
Why?
So that I can forward his records and discuss his treatment with whoever will be handling his case.
I'll let you know when I decide.
You mean you don't know where you're committing him as of this point?
No. But someplace closer to Norwich where I can visit him frequently.
He must be confined. He needs constant care and supervision.
I'm well aware of that.
Well, if you insist on moving him, I wish you would wait until tomorrow morning and make arrangements for an ambulance to come up here for him and to take him to whatever hospital you decide upon.
No. You said yourself if he were strapped to the seat, he'd be fine. So he's going with me, and he's going tonight.
I will send 2 attendants up to prepare him for the leave-taking.
Dr. Karanowski. Remember, if Bennett should contact you, you are not to tell him anything. Not about Martin's progress or where he is.
Why are you so frightened of your employer finding out?
Martin would be in great danger.
I see.
Martin. I'm sorry, but it has to be. After what I've seen and heard today, I can't risk leaving you here. I have to think about Bennett. I have to think about Bennett above everyone else. Just as I always have. And always will. I'm sorry.
Poor Ruth.